Ah, Enchanting Prague. We heard it's one of Europe's greatest cities, so we decided to check out the Czech Republic. Get it? It was a long flight. We left Houston and stopped in London. Germany.
What city in Germany?
Finally, after a 15-hour trip, we were in Prague. We were pooped. In Prague, they speak Czech, and they call their city Praha. Czech is not an easy language to speak, but I'll give it a try. The airport is called Letiště Václava Havla Praha. That has a nice ring to it. Our home for the week was the Maison Pactuve Palace. You know how much we love staying in hotels. The hotel is a former residence of Earl Pacta and once was Mozart's home. It sits right next to the Charles Bridge, the main bridge between all there is to see on both sides of the Vltava River. While Mom and Dad checked us in, we looked around the lobby and the courtyard and saw beautiful art and sculpture everywhere. We even spied this huge cow up on a balcony. They welcomed us with Robbie Bubble, kids' sparkling juice.
Yeah, I think that's the best part of it. Yum.
Time for a trip tip. Since we're out of our normal time zone, we'll have jet lag, which doctors call desynchronosis. Prague is 7 hours ahead of Houston, but our bodies think we're still back home. It's best to get on the local time ASAP, which for us means dinner and a good night's sleep. After a great breakfast, we're off to explore Prague's old town. Prague is a great walking city, so make sure you have comfortable shoes. Our first destination is the Old Town Square on the east side of the Vltava. It's on the right side of this map. It's the center of life in Prague where lots of people gather. It's also where we'll see the famous astronomical clock later in the show. Strolling through the winding streets of Prague is like walking through a labyrinth with narrow alleys and sometimes hidden passages. It was really fun.
Where are you going, girls?
It's a little neighborhood.
It's a little tiny hallway.
The buildings are really old and beautiful. It's as if every building is a piece of art. We found this great old stand selling Tridelnik, a Czech pastry. Finally, we arrived to the sound of horse carriages, and we were right in the middle of it all. It's hard to believe these buildings are real. They look like they're right out of a fairy tale. The Gothic Church of Our Lady Before Tyne watches over the square since the year 1365. We discover a street market just off the square and meet some of the locals. First, we need to change some money. The Czech money is called the koruna, or crown. $1 is equal to 20 Czech korunas. Next on our list is to taste some real Prague street food, starting with Tridelnik. This sweet pastry made its way to the Czech Republic from Transylvania. It's made from dough that is rolled around a stick, grilled, and then topped with a mix of sugar and walnuts.
Now we're eating Prague street foods. I'm having this.
After our snack, we hear the chimes of the astronomical clock at the town hall. It's over 600 years old and still works. Take a close look at the guy in red and yellow. We're about to meet him. You can climb the stairs up to the gallery and see the people waiting for the clock below. After the chimes, the trumpeter plays for the crowd, and we were right next to him. It sounds like we're in a fairy tale. As the sun sets over the Old Town Square, we meet up with some friends who've driven in from Germany to see us. This is the Schroeder family: Dad Thomas, Mom Angela, and the kids Timmy, Paula, and Anna. Anna, next to Mom in the blue shirt, lived with us for a year in Houston. She's like our big sister and we miss her very much. Time for a trip tip on dining out in Prague. Restaurants in the tourist areas can be very clever in getting you to pay for more than you ordered. Make sure to check the bill. The service charge or tip is already included. Also, the bread they give you is not free like it is in the States. They will charge you per person for it, so if you don't want it, ask them to take it back or it will cost you some serious koruna. Day 3 in Enchanting Prague brings us to the Hradčany, or Castle District. The castle and town were founded in 1320, almost 700 years ago. Lots of walking again today. Put on your comfy shoes. We walked across the Charles Bridge to start our journey to the castle. There are statues everywhere along the bridge, depicting saints and sometimes angels. The architecture is stunning. We take the 22 tram up to the castle entrance. It's a quick trip with lots of gardens to see. Finally, we're inside the walls and headed up to the guard gate. The guards never move. It would be tough for Nikki and I to do this job. The changing of the guards takes place every hour. It's really cool to see. Is it just me, or do they look kind of happy swinging their arms like that? Inside the grounds we find St. Vitus's Cathedral, built in 1344. There are huge vaulted ceilings and pretty stained glass. Our favorite part of the castle is Golden Lane, tiny houses along the inside of the castle wall where the guards and workmen lived. We even discovered some interesting armor in a medieval toilet.
We just discovered the toilet. Imagine having to go in there.
And, aha, the toy museum with lots of
Barbies.
definitely a highlight of the day. Just below the castle are some amazing green spaces. We explored the Wallenstein Gardens. See this creepy wall? It's called the Grotesquerie, and it's made to look like the walls of a limestone cave. Inside the gardens, the city has built placards so visitors can understand the history of Prague and how the city has evolved. Dad read almost every one. Come on, Dad. For our last evening with our German friends, we went for some music and good Czech food at one of Prague's famous beer gardens. The next day, we decided to live like a local in beautiful Prague, enjoying some of its great parks and try some more street food. We met up with our friends Rena and Lutz, who also drove in from Germany to see us. You might remember them from our show Discovering the Alps, when they met up with us in Switzerland. We love that they will always come to see us. First up, lunch. Time for some of that famous Prague ham, and my favorite.
What do you got there?
Potatoes, bacon, and sauerkraut.
After lunch, we walked back over the Charles Bridge to Campo Park. We heard an orchestra playing in the park. They sounded really good. Lutz is a policeman and he brought his dog, Cisco. The last time we saw him in Switzerland, he was a puppy. He's a great guard dog. Such a cute baby face. We discovered these babies in the park. They're huge. After walking everywhere, we have another trip tip for you. Prague is filled with inexpensive Thai massage spas. It's a great way to give your feet a break and enjoy some relaxation for not a lot of Corona. For about $20 each, we got the traditional massage. It felt so good. Dad bravely tried their specialty, a fish pedicure. He said it was like tiny bubbles all over your feet. I think we'll pass on that one, Dad. We decided to leave the city for a day. We rented a speedy little ride and headed out into the Czech countryside to find the Karlstein Castle. Karlstein is about 18 miles southwest of Prague. The castle was originally built to house the crown jewels and sits up high on a hill. The walk up the steep hill to get there is tough, but you can get snacks along the way. We somehow got the keys to the tower where the jewels are, and a few minutes later we were in. Just kidding. We found another medieval bathroom. Yuck! We spent our last day in the Mala Strana, or Lesser Quarter. There's a lot to see here, including the lock bridge, where people put a lock on the bridge to symbolize everlasting love. We also stopped by the John Lennon Peace Wall, which was full of graffiti and lots of sayings like this one.
Live the life you love. Love the life you live.
And we found the U.S. Embassy, which backs up to some beautiful gardens. One of our favorite things to do to remember our trip is to have a local artist help us create a memory. This is Sergey. We met him on the Charles Bridge and asked him to create a caricature of us. Nikki was first. He made her a dancer because she loves to dance. Then it was my turn. It was hard to sit still for 20 minutes. I got to be a softball player. Now here's Mom. She turned out to be a tennis superstar. Prague is a beautiful city full of interesting things. We discovered some incredible history and are so excited to come back someday with our kids.
Okay, Delaney, what are you going to remember the most about Prague?
That I was there with my family, the food's great, and it's a wonderful city.
For now, it's back to Houston. This is the Culture Kid signing off. Thanks for coming with us to Enchanting Prague.